march that seeks to push for the government to take responsibility for the deaths that have occurred and as well injuries that were sustained by protesters during the Tuesday's demonstrations. However, it's still not yet clear. Remember, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua urged Kenyans to cease from participating in those particular protests. Also, the conversation on the deployment of the military to help the police deal with these particular demonstrations. The LSK has gone to the courts seeking to have the decision by Parliament, or the approval by Parliament, to be considered as unconstitutional. And also, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the NIS DG should take responsibility for what happened and in fact resigned. In studio this morning, I'm joined by members of Parliament. That is Honorable James Gakuya, Embakasi North Member of Parliament, Honorable Mark Mwenje, Embakasi West Member of Parliament, and as well Honorable Dr. John Ariko, who's the Turkana South Member of Parliament and also a member of the Finance and National Planning Committee in the National Assembly. Just to begin with you, Honorable James Gakuya, with what happened, especially with this bill being passed by a coalition you are in, that is Kenya Kwanza, that is the majority on the floor of the House, and we saw even more than 20 people shot dead as a result, with also Parliament having been invaded by protesters who had threatened to occupy Parliament, and they made good their threat. What do you make of this morning, even as we begin this conversation?
Thank you, Chacha. Allow me to salute viewers wherever they were watching us from, and especially those from my constituency, Embakasi North constituency. Coming to the concern of the giant or the monster, the finance bill. The finance bill, let me say first and foremost that this is a normal budget procedure, and everybody is aware of this, that every budget cycle must be at any given time have a finance bill to back it. Because once you make your projections on a whole financial year, there has to be a finance bill that will lead you on those areas of concern where you expect to harness resources for you to also make the clear and total implementation of that financial budget proposals. And coming to the current stalemate of this particular finance bill, yes, normally and procedurally the finance bill came, and it also came after when the budget was already settled and the budget cycle was over. And this is for sure every single financial year, which is June, we must have a new financial year. And every new financial year has to have a budget cycle, with budget proposals, and this has been the tradition always. Let me say that, in fact, as much as the debate is so cunning, I would say as a Kenyan that there was nothing abnormal in this process. It's only that, in fact, there was a total feeling from Kenyans that probably the height of taxation is at the most critical point, and their feelings boiled up, and without anybody disseminating this information on a very clear manner. Because I hope if President was well guided, he could also have guided the House on how to go. And I would say that, in fact, the finance bill always comes from the executive. It does not come trickle from bottom. It comes from the top down. And at a point when the feeling was that Kenyans, because everything that you approve in Parliament, this is a civilian government. And a civilian government is always elected by people. And therefore, to listen to the people is key. Because whatever you do, And whatever you are cooking in your kitchen, you are cooking for Kenyans. And if Kenyans say we are not ready to eat this food, whether you cook it or not, then we are not ready for it.
Well,
I think that's the point when discussion could have started. And when those signs came out, that there is a clear opposite of what happened yesterday. It couldn't have warranted us to lose Kenyans of that magnitude and the damage of properties in the whole republic. It's a matter that could have already sorted. And I think since the head of state is elected by the people, he has every obligation to listen to them and to heed to what the people want.
Well, now to Honorable Mark Mwenje. Understanding during the Finance Bill 2023, Azimio staged demonstrations against this bill. This time round, it was the youthful Kenyans who came out, and it's unfortunate that 23 lost their lives. Perhaps for the government to realize that this bill has been or is unpopular. What do you make of what has been transpiring in the nation? Factoring in this time round, Azimio was not involved in calling for these demonstrations.
Thank you, Chacha. And thank you for inviting us again this morning. Let me join my colleague in greeting our viewers and those from Embakasi West for rising up early. Last year, when one of the things, Chacha, that I must start off is that Kenyans have been complaining about the cost of living increasing gradually. This was something that, as we went into the campaigns of 2022, was right on top of the agenda. And the Kenya Kwanza team vigorously campaigned about lowering costs. And if I can remember, the president then even being very aggressive, stating that those who were in power then did not know what they were doing. And he understood what needed to be done. But from the get-go, once we had the 2023-2024 finance bill, which brought a raft of additional taxes. You remember, then we even had the housing tax, which would later on be thrown out by the courts, but was brought back later on. You remember the issue of VAT on fuel, which had been at 8%, went to 16%. So then we, the Azimio coalition, were really under pressure. And we went out, tried to put our fight in Parliament. We were unable to do so. We got out to the streets, and then, as you're right, we were leading it. But unfortunately, we didn't get as far as we had hoped. But anyway, come this year, 2024, this time round, we made it deliberate. That is why you've not seen any member of parliament, any of our principals, none of them. We said the youth have decided they want to lead. In fact, the Gen Zs were very clear that they don't want politicians involved. And we made it deliberate because we didn't want, we thought maybe our protests last year were dubbed that it was Azimio. That, oh, maybe we were bitter from maybe loss of elections and all sorts of things. This time round, there's no one to blame. You cannot come and say that it's Raila or it's Kalonzo or it's the MPs from Azimio. It was deliberate because we thought, let us give these Kenyans a chance to speak for themselves. In my opinion, we didn't need to go this way. We should have read the mood from last year, because even last year Kenyans were upset, but they relied on us within Azimio to keep up the fight. So this year, anyone who had gone through this finance bill, once you listen to the public participation that was conducted all over, the taxes that were being introduced this time around had really an effect on just about each and every sector of our economy, and was affecting just about everyone within the country. If you'd seen the proposals that had been in the original finance bill, you know, it was all about, even for anybody who wants to supply this cap, you know, to any government offices or anywhere, had to be brought under the ATM's system and start paying taxes. So the bitterness, when we watched the public participations, listened to what Kenyans were saying, we left it and said, let Kenyans speak about this. Because you saw our numbers. A while back, somebody asked me, how many members of parliament do you think we'll get? And I actually revealed and said, we would have over 100. We might not win, but our numbers will increase from what we had last year. Because gradually you could see there were members who are agreeing with us, even across the divide, who are saying, no, I think this is a bit too far, we need to bring it back.
Well,
so in my opinion, the youth this time round, their voice was very clear, and their voice was heard beyond our borders, all the way to the UN, to the US. And I think it's time. President Uhuru warned us while he was coming to the end of his term that a time will come when you'll have to listen to these youths. And that time is now.
well, and now to Dr. John Ariko, who is a member of the Finance Committee that has actually handled or you have been part of the committee that handled the Finance Bill 2023, which is now an act, and as well this Finance Bill 2024. Did you anticipate it getting to this extent?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chacha. Good morning, Kenyans. First of all, my condolences to the family who lost their beloved ones as a result of these demonstrations. Chacha, I want to thank the people of Turkana for having peaceful demonstration. And I want to warn those inflated egos leadership in Turkana who tried to fight against the demonstrators. Their time has come. Chacha, I think I want also to congratulate the president for having listened to the cries of the people of Kenya. I want to tell the leadership of Kenya, I want to tell us that the tax measures have reached an optimal level. The more now we increase the taxes, the more we will be unproductive in this economy. We as a CMIO, we did not just reject this finance bill because of any political ground. No, we listen to Kenyans. We stay with Kenyans. We work with Kenyans. We know what Kenyans feel about this economy. This economy is not growing. It's not growing. And the reason as why we are increasing taxes is just to satisfy some few individuals within government institutions. If we go back to Finance Bill 2023, the Finance Bill 2023 never met its target. And why are we increasing if the Finance Bill for 2023 has not met the expectation? So that's why I want to appreciate the president. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's allow the Finance Bill for 2023 achieve its objective. Probably it will achieve its objective in this financial year, that is 2024-2025. Chacha, I think we've lied a lot to the people of Kenya, to the citizens of Kenya. Remember, the KK government came into place after giving so many lies, after criticizing Uhuru's government. They criticized a lot. They said increase prices in fuel prices, increase in food prices. But now what happened after taking over the leadership? They continued taking the loans that they said they will never take loans again. They have done the opposite. And that is what we call the ironies. We forget as a leadership, we forget what we said, the promises that we made to the citizens of Kenya. We forget that. But after coming into, that's after coming into the leadership. So I say, the leadership of Kenya, the politicians, let's not lie a lot to the public. The public will come for us, and they have come for us.
Honorable James Gakuya, as an insider, during the parliamentary group meetings that you had at State House, and also while the report of the Finance Committee was ready for tabling in Parliament, at any point did you consider telling the President that members should actually reject the bill while still in Parliament?
Chacha, let me tell Kenyans that during our last PG, we were able to mitigate the finance because we went through it and we were able to look into those very critical areas of concern where we thought that they are the most pinning areas. And 17 clauses were amended. By doing so, we thought that we have done the best post-mortem on the same finance bill. But the reality is, the feeling of the Kenyans was to drop the whole bill. Therefore, even though we did what we did at State House, and we made very major effort to make amendment of those various number of clauses. And also, at the last day, there was what we call the Committee of the House, when also extraordinary clauses, which were almost 23 in number, were also part of the amendment. Then we thought that actually that surgery was good enough for us to allow now the finance bill to sail through. Not knowing that, in fact, that was not the feeling of the Wanjiku. And Wanjiku's concern was to totally suspend and withdraw the whole bill.
Well, at that point, Honorable Mwenje, you know, while the Finance Committee had released their report that was on Tuesday last week, the same day there were demonstrations in Parliament. So, and it was clear we don't want any amendments, we want the rejection of the whole bill in totality. And that was actually the stand of Azimio. You had a PG at the County Hall at around 5 p.m. Is it that we had members of Parliament from Kenya Kwanza who had lost touch with the ground, despite even blaming the NIS, I mean, because members represent the the citizens?
You know, Chacha, your question was answered very clearly yesterday. And the Deputy President more so. Because he said there was a position, there was a party position that was taken. Members of Parliament are always interacting with their constituents. It was very clear. You could see protests and demos coming from each and every quarter, coming from constituencies, even led by the majority leader himself. There were demos there. So for me, the issue was that our members of Parliament, and something that I have repeated here severally that I think even, I don't know how to say it in different terms, that we as members of Parliament take an oath that we must always act conscientiously. That's a word you must always remember. It's in our oath. I think you've seen at times MPs struggle when they're taking the oath, but that word is there. If our MPs did that, especially our colleagues from Kenya Kwanza, we wouldn't be here. You know, when we went and the committee retreated and brought the amendments, we were quick. We took our time. When they held their PG in State House, we waited until the evening. Why? Because we thought, let us wait and see how are Kenyans reacting to these amendments. What do they want us to do? Do they consider these amendments good? Do they consider them bad? And we waited for at the time. And I must fault the very top leadership in this country because there was some chest thumping. In fact, we in the Azimio were being told, oh, we've pulled the rug away under you guys. You have nothing to say now. Come on that day, in our PG, we thought we're going to put in some amendments as well. So the government, the executive side has put amendments. Our side, we're also going to put in amendments as well. And some of our amendments, Chacha, let me reveal to you today, included deleting each and every clause of the finance bill. Exactly what the president has done in that memorandum.
Dr.
So let me just wind up. So when we put in the amendments, later on, by Thursday, it was clear to us. And you know, amendments are put in by every member individually and all that. So by Thursday, it became very clear to us that Kenyans did not want amendments. Kenyans just wanted rejection in total, which is what, by the time we were coming to Tuesday this week, we as the Azimio coalition, and it was very clear, we came out and said we are removing all our amendments. In fact, I was one of the ones who had to withdraw on the floor all my amendments because we were listening to what the Kenyans were saying. All this could have been avoided, all that death. And I sincerely condole with the families that have lost their loved ones. All this could have been avoided if only we listened to what the ground was saying rather than the party position.
Dr. Rico, I understand we are supposed to take a short commercial break, but just briefly, I'll still come back with you. Do you feel the Finance and National Planning Committee in Parliament should be disbanded and formed yet again?
Why? The Finance and National Planning Committee does not prepare finance bill.
In consideration, was it not appropriate to advise the Treasury to even withdraw the bill before it gets into this level?
It is not the responsibility of Finance and National Planning to advise the government to withdraw the bill.
The rest of the House. How about the rest of the House? Because you come up with the report. How about clearly state that this bill, you've stated that it's, we actually, as a country, we've reached at the optimal level taxes. How about at that point you'd advise the whole House that this bill should not be brought in right now? Let's use the Finance Act of 2023.
Let me just tell you clearly. The responsibility of Finance and National Committee is to undertake public participation, is to allow all stakeholders to come and participate and present their interest in Finance Bill 2024.
So is the committee not the
and
cause
so
of
many
all these
amendments and
problems
so many amendments
today?
that Kakuya claims to have been passed or recommended by KK government. They never did that. They only adopted the amendments presented by Finance and National Committee Chair.
Well, at that juncture, we take a short commercial break. I'll still come back with Dr. John Ariko, who is the member of the Finance Committee of the National Assembly. You can also join this conversation via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Church as well, on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. We'll also rope in other voices. That includes Ruth Kinyanjui, who is an economist, on how then do we navigate the shortfall that is anticipated in the next year's financial year's budget. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.